Redefine Radio on thefaceradio.com. I am your host, Freddie Cosmo, the Disco Prince of New York. My special guest today is here to talk about his LDM Music Award nomination in 2 different categories and his new film project. Please welcome actor, dancer, recording artist, Jesse Vega. Jesse, how are you?
Hey, hi guys, Redefine Radio, Freddie Cosmo.
So thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
Before we get into everything, I do want to take a second, and because there's a lot of people, well, there's not a lot of people, but there's a few people who come on the show who I have this sort of long history with, and you fall into that category because you and I met, I want to say maybe it might have been 10 years ago.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
9 or 10 years.
Yeah, I think it was 2000 and probably 11.
Yeah.
Or 10, no, 11 or 12, one of
11
those.
or 12.
Yeah.
At a dance audition.
Yes. Crazy, right?
And then over the years, I sort of would run into you in all of these sort of random different places, or see you like on stage, like performing, and I'd be like, I know him. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I think when we did the audition, which was like 10 years ago, that's when we met, and then we auditioned, and then after that, like I think we just, our careers went different ways.
Right.
And it wasn't until, I think for me, I don't know if like you probably saw me a couple of times, but for me it was Vinyl Fantasy that passed like last year. And you was, oh my God. And I'm like, it's been 10 years. And you're like, yeah, but we never spoke except
I know. Right. Well, I would always sort of see your name on flyers, or I would go to Queen's Pride. I remember one year you were on the main stage. I was like just in the crowd, like with my ex at the time, with my boyfriend at the time. And they were like, Jesse, and I was like, I know this kid, like I know you. And you had dancers and you were doing the whole J-Lo thing and you looked fantastic. So we've had an interesting sort of like journey, and I'm really glad that like we're reconnecting and doing all these things together. So, because we weren't even officially cast in a project together until, like you said, the recent Vinyl Fantasy, which was, which one did we do together?
It was the Britney Spears.
The Britney one, yes, the In the Zone, which was which was so much fun. But you've been super busy since then, because I know you just did Fam at Stonewall recently. Yes, which I'm slated to do in a couple of weeks as well.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And you didn't do Pop Icon though yet?
Do where? To
Pop
what again?
The new party, Pop Icon in Astoria.
No, I didn't do the Pop Icon. I was there just a few days ago to support all my fellow colleague entertainers.
How was it?
It was really good. It's so crazy. I love Queens. Like for me, I love how the energy of Queens, when you get out of the train station, you feel like, and I don't know if it's just me, but I both go by energy. You feel like everybody it's very calm and it's very like in harmony. But when you go to the Bronx, I'm like,
because you're originally from the Bronx, right?
From the Bronx, from the Bronx. You gotta be clutching your pearls, but in Queens, it's very relaxed. When you go to Manhattan, you gotta be on the go. Go. So, but when I was over there, Pop Icon, I was really impressed with like the stage and all the artists, and they performed, and the drinks were good and they were affordable, thank God. So it was very good and very fun, and I enjoyed my night while I was at Pop Icon.
Yeah, so let's backtrack just a little bit again, because speaking of, that was a dancer heavy event, I know, and you and I know each other as dancers. That's what we. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I have a very clear memory of the two of us, because in that call, this is what I loved about you, and I would never forget this, because you were so ballsy. They kind of put us on the spot and asked us to sing.
Oh gosh.
I don't even know if you remember this.
That I swear to God, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I do not remember that. I don't remember that. I do
They,
remember who paired us together,
yes.
and that was it.
They had asked us to sing. It was sort of, I think it was like I don't think it was an unexpected thing. And you had sang like something about Jennifer Lopez, I remember. And you just went for it. Like you just like balls out, like gave it your all. And I was didn't even, didn't let the world bother you at all. You just totally went for it. And I remember you were sort of like, oh, at the time you were like, kind of iffy with the singing because I know that you have a bigger dance background. And I was so impressed by that. And so fast forward to now, because I want to talk, because you have records out and you're nominated for awards for your record. So can you just catch me up a little on your transition from dancing to moving into being a recording artist?
So it's so crazy because even after that event, we didn't get booked. So, and I remember I really, really wanted that booking, and I was really looking forward to working with you. And we never got called, and we were like the only males. But oh well, God put us in different places, and look at us now, owning our own business. So that's the defining moment. But with music, you know, it was so crazy because at that time I was already like in my late teens, early 20s. And, you know, I was already doing dance visuals and cover music videos of other artists. And I just started like reenacting other people's music and their visuals. And I always wanted to do the music, but I didn't really believe in myself, and I didn't have the courage to do it because I was so stuck in my ways on doing other artist stuff that I didn't think it was possible. And I was also afraid of fail because I was so used to catering to artists that we look up to, you know, like the J-Los and the Britneys and the Christinas and all that, and doing all that, that I was like, if I do something that is my own, I feel like no one's gonna accept that or like it, or what if I don't do a great job? And I think it wasn't until by 2014 when my dad passed away, and he comes from a musical background, and he's all about instrumentation and playing the congas and stuff like that. And he always would tell me, Jesse, do your own music, do your own music. And I just didn't want to believe that I had the potential. And when he died, I always feel that when somebody that means a lot to you, when they pass over, you start inheriting their gifts, something very spiritual, that it didn't take maybe 6 months, almost a year. I started to create melodies and listen to beat songs, and I started having harmonies and this and that. And I realized, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the music because I'm gonna not only do it for myself, but I'm gonna do it for my father because he wanted to push me. And lo and behold, 2 years after he passed away, I put out my first record. And I was once told by a writer, the minute you write your first song, it's like a drug. You're not gonna stop. And you're gonna do more and more and more. And at the time I was like, really? Is that true? It's like, yeah, you just get hooked and you don't stop. You just keep going and going. And that's where it came from. I just realized that after I came from the dance background, I always knew that when I was gonna do the music, that is gonna be the blueprint. Because that's what people know me. You know, they know I'm very theatrical, I'm very high energy. So they expect to see me go off in choreography and performance. So I always use that as my base.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to do. But it was not easy. It was a long time coming. There were a lot of people who just didn't vouch for it and didn't believe it. But then I realized, I said, you know what, I don't really care because I'm gonna do it because they don't want me to do it. I'm gonna do it.
Well, I've always known you to have that energy, and it's important because you have the confidence in yourself. Can I ask, were you and your father very close?
Yeah, we were very close. I feel like we were more closer as I got more into my adult age. And then when I found out he passed away with prostate cancer. And he was diagnosed in 2012. And they say he has 6 months to live, you know, doctors.
Right.
And he passed for 2 years. And then it was very, it was hard. It was very hard. It was very emotional. I was already told at an age that the first person he's going to consider is me because he didn't have any other children except me. And I learned a lot from my father in terms of doing things yourself, not letting people belittle you, standing up for yourself, and being your own boss. He told me about, you want people to listen to you, you want people to vouch for you, go to your shows, you got to go out there and tell people, hit up people, go in people's faces that you don't even know in the middle of the street, say, here's my flyer, here's this. He was very a hustler, and he's very old school Rican, that he was just very like in your face, here's this, here's this. He was all about the money, the gold. He was very New York. So I've learned a lot from him. And because of that, I'm glad that he has taught me to put my foot down and, you know, don't let them say no, that is not possible. Just go for it.
So you're saying that after that, you started to get into songwriting. Do you feel like there was a healing aspect to getting into songwriting yourself after that experience? Did you find it?
After that experience, I mean, it was already, he passed like in November of 2014. So I was already going to be 25 the year after. And I was still telling myself, I want to do the music. But I didn't have the connections. I didn't know where to go to. I didn't know a damn thing about production. I didn't know a thing about songwriting. But it wasn't until my boyfriend, he actually sent me a connection of somebody else from his job. And he said, oh, hit up this guy. He's a producer, a manager, whatever the case may be. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll see. So I hit him up, and it just so happens he had a friend of a friend who had a studio. And I went to them, and I was in a studio in the Bronx. We started working on like creating music, and then another referral had another referral. And this guy came in, he was a songwriter. His name was Rufus Chisholm. And we all started working about music and what we wanted to do. And then I said, okay, well, the type of music I love is I want my first record to be very dance. And I wanted to EDM house, you know, like those raving type music. I have an ear for that. I want it to be very like you're in a club and it's very thumping and people are taking ecstasy pills. And it was that was my idea of my first song. And I said, I wanted this, but I didn't know a damn thing about like how to create the song. But when I was there in the studio, it just so happened that I already started catching melodies. And I said, well, I want this melody, I want this. And the guy who wrote my first ever song, which was I'm Gonna Show You, he came up to me the next day and says, I have this song. And Jess, you need to hear this song. And he's a songwriter. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you have? And he's like, well, I heard this in my dream. And I heard, and he heard that, and I'm like, oh wow, that's dope. He's like, singing it, and these are the lyrics. And then I told him before he even had that dream, I said, well, the song I want to write is a type of song where I'm tired of people telling me what to do. I don't want people to tell me that I'm not capable of being an artist or not capable of being this. I'm going to show you that I'm capable of doing anything, everything, but I want it to be universal where everybody can relate. When people are always saying no, it's a yes. So then he came up with the lyrics, and then I co-write a few lines here and there. I wasn't really all that great, but I pushed myself. And ironically, and it's so crazy, but the melody of that song, I'm Gonna Show You, especially the hook, before it gets into the chorus, it has kind of like the same hook melody as my favorite freestyle song, which is the Cover Girls, which is Show Me. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Do you know? And he didn't know anything about freestyle music, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, this melody.
That's how I know you're from the Bronx, because you're talking about freestyle music. That's how I know you're from the Bronx.
So I told him, and I was like, you know, this sounds like this. And he's like, but we're not gonna get flagged, right? He's like, no, I don't, because if you're not making millions of records, ain't nobody gonna try to flag you. And freestyle, it's kind of dead now, but people are still listening to it.
I love it. I think I still love it. Like, but I'm a city kid like you. So fast forward to now, it's been a few years, and now you're recently nominated. I voted for you, by the way. I think I told you that. Yeah. For the LDM Awards, which is as an independent music artist. So you're doing it independently in 2 different categories.
Yes.
It's, correct me if is it best male?
So it's in the Latin category.
Okay.
Será Tú.
Será tú.
The English version is For You in the Pop.
Okay, so the Latin and pop categories. And you guys can vote now at ldmradio.com for Jesse Vega. We're gonna play the English version actually after this, for sure. But look how far you've come. So tell us how this came about with the LDM Radio Awards.
So LDM Radio Awards, the way that happened, and I'm still trying to remember how that happened. Because I think this was 2017. So I was already at I just dropped like my first ever independent album, Microphone. And I was already in my third single. And I was just looking at platforms, whatever. And I think I saw somebody, an artist who had a song on Facebook, and it was on a radio award show. And then I was like, okay, so how do I put my song in? Mm-hmm. So I contacted them. And lo and behold, my song at the time, which was called Take It Away, it was nominated. And I was nominated, and then I was in the finals on my first year for the pop category.
Okay.
I peaked at number 4. I was leading in my category, but I didn't win the first year.
Okay.
And that's okay, you know?
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what, I'll try again the second year. So I tried again the second year. I had another independent project, put that out. I didn't really campaign in as much. I don't know what happened, but nominated, was in the finals. I didn't win. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna take at least 2 years off and just be like, okay, I'm not gonna do no more. And then revamp. And then I did it again, put out my song, my Spanish. It got nominated on the Latin, and then the English version got in the pop. And once I put that records out hard in campaigning and telling people and voting and this and that, and I started to my song at number 1 for probably 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And the English version was number 2. And I was just dominating the Latin pop category, especially in the Latin category. And then the nominations came, and then I was nominated for Latin pop. So this will be you could say I'm a 4-time nominated.
Yeah, well, you are. It's not like you can say that as what actually you are.
Yeah, so hopefully, God willing, I've been campaigning, and hopefully we'll see this year I can have in those 2 categories. If not, I think I'll end up like the Susan Lucci. As long as
you got a ways to go before you get to Susan Lucci level.
Or Leonardo DiCaprio.
The award ceremony happens in the summer. Is that correct?
Yes, it's actually happening. So the award ceremony is happening on August 6th.
Okay.
This year. Tickets are available now to get your tickets to come to the event at the LDM Radio. But voting for the awards, you can still vote, and they are closing the voting polls on June 30th.
Right, that I saw. Do they have the nominees perform at the event?
Yes, they do have the nominees performed. Unfortunately, this year I haven't heard anything about performing, or anybody has spoke to me or called me about performing. But I am aware of, I think there are some performers, if I'm not mistaken, who are performing this year. But I am familiar with LDM and performing. I've done it for the first year, but right. This year I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think either way. I think you're going to be fine, by the way. I want to talk about another performance that you actually just did, the Artist Spotlight Showcase at Albatross recently. Yes. So I haven't had a chance to check that out, but I know that a lot of our cohorts have. Vegas has been, Marcel, I think yes. Jack and Danielle Cardona, everybody, I'm sure our regular, our circle here on the local music scene. How was it? Tell us how it went, because I saw that you were really featured on the flyer. Yeah. I follow you on your Instagram. It's always damn, It
was good. Again, it's, I feel like this year has been a lot of firsts for me. And what I mean by that is it was my first time performing at a bar in Queens, and I performed at bars, but not in the borough of Queens. Mm-hmm. So that's the first. I'm always taking to the heart when it's always the first, because it's always the stakes for me has to be high, mm-hmm. and it's always an introduction for me. So it was always the first for me. I've been in Queens. Obviously, I've done Queens Pride. but I never done Albatross, and Albatross was very intimate. It
Mm-hmm.
was very cute, and the producer, Adam Surratt, so very professional at what he does. I mean, obviously he's an artist and he comes from a musical theater background, but like I don't think out of a lot of producers that I've been on this show was very particular on when you get on your seats or whatever seat you're sitting on in the audience, he puts like your QR code and he puts like the artists and their bios and the
Yeah.
QR codes. When you're having a couple of drinks, you don't want, and you're so scared to go up to the artist when they did a good show, you don't have the time or the energy or the courage to say, wow, that was so great. Can I get your Instagram? And
Right.
I can't hear you through the
Right.
music and stuff like that.
Right.
Probably I'm drunk or coked up or who knows. But at least I have a QR code and I could just do this and it's so easy, you know what I'm saying? But I thought that was so smart, fast, and easy because now everything is so here.
Yeah.
So, and he had the banners and people's, pictures and stuff like that. So it was very professionally and very organized. And it was my first time, and they literally, like the audience literally was engaging on my performance, and for the first time in a long time, and I can't really remember anybody. When I did my English song For You, the whole audience started singing along, and I'm like, wait a minute, they don't even know this song, but it's so catchy that they were singing along.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
like, I never had that experience, so it was really wonderful that I had a wonderful time at Albatross.
Well, that's how you get nominated for awards, my friend. What are your thoughts on being a part of our little community, of our little music community that we have here? Because it's getting to the point, and like I said, it's great to see you in sort of a different way, because I think technically I may have known you before. I've gotten to be closer to Vegas and really good friends with Marcel. I love hanging out with Marcel and stuff, but I actually knew you longer than I knew a lot of the other guys. So how do you feel about our little circle that we have here in New York, our little music circle?
I just feel that it's so amazing that there's so many different like seasonings. You know what I'm saying? When you're cooking, there's always different seasonings. You got the paprika there, you got the salt, you got the Goyas, you got this, you got that, different seasonings of all of us. Like we're all different, you know what I'm saying? And you can't really compare each and one of us because we're all different. We all have different inspirations of who we inspired on different artists. Yes, we all in the pop realm, but it's very important and very interesting to see that everybody in the community is all a pop artist. And I feel like it was a long time that I couldn't kind of like find my in crowd, I would say. When you're growing up LGBT and especially finding your way, you never feel like you fit in. But I feel like once I started getting closer and familiar with Marcel, especially Marcel, I found like, okay, this is my crowd. Okay, this is the pop girls. We all love the same girls. We all have our different sounds, but we all here, we're supporting each other. There's no egos. So it's good that we have everybody is united. Everybody's having an event. Let me call up this one. Come to this show. It's so good because 9 times out of 10, the LGBT community is so big, but again, so small. And I cannot tell you how much like there's always those egos that get involved, where it's like they always want to divide each other. Say, oh, that he's okay, but he's not a great singer, or he's a great performer. And there's always like this double standard. And to me, in my own eyes, everybody's different in their own way. Everybody has a different sound. Nobody's vocally correct. That's how you learn. Nobody's the greatest dancer, but we learn. We have our own niche, and it's very important to see different areas of different artists in the community because you get versatility.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a lot of variety amongst a lot of us. So aside from the music, you are a multidisciplinary artist, as we call it. And I want to talk about your new short film. I talked about this with Kenny, who we had a couple of weeks ago on the show. And now I want to hear it straight from the source because this is your project.
Yes.
The film is called, we can't say it on the air, so we'll just say F'd Up. And can you tell us a little bit about it?
So F'd Up is actually a short drama, and it was actually I produced it. I first started producing it during COVID. You know, a lot of people has been doing a lot of creative things during COVID. So kudos to all those artists.
Very true.
We've been
Very
finally,
true.
you know, applying ourselves, you know. And I was actually literally trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I originally had a web series that I did, and then it didn't go well. And then I said, you know what? I want to take what I have and just mesh it up, whatever. So I actually was in Colombia, and this was November of 2020. And then I was writing this script, and all I knew was I just wanted to create a short film about friendship and having drama within it. That was all I remember. And then I put out an ad on castings on Facebook, and I think I was looking for a filmmaker. And this guy, his name is Jordan L. Sims. He's a production assistant. He used to production assist on the show called what was that show called? Manifest.
Oh,
show.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And he hit me up and he was like, hey, I would love to produce with you. So we got together. We started producing a short from scratch. He came up with his ideas. I came up with mine. And we probably went through like 3 to 4 revisions before we had the final version a whole year later, like probably like in February or March. And then I already knew that I wanted it to do supporting because I was already producing. So I was like, I don't want to do lead. But then I said, you know what? I want to give back to my community and to my friends, that giving people a shot. And that's what I'm always about, giving people a shot and, you know, uplifting people. So I'm, you know, I'm good friends with Kenny, and I was like, Kenny, you know, I want you to do this short film because we work together, but I want you to play the lead. So, you know, you have a lot of shoes to fill. And then he was like, yeah, I'll do it. First, we had a different version of the script, and then it changed.
Of course.
And then we got into production in end of April, early May, which was around the same time that he was also having his album come out. So he was busy.
Heartbreak on Caldwell.
Yes, he was doing his EP, and then he was also filming. So we did like the production for 2 days, and then now a whole year later, now the film is already like finalized, and we're just working on the next step, like film festivals and looking at these states. So we've been on it for so long. I've been like, Jordan, when is done? When
do you have a release date for the projects?
So I don't have a release date, but I will say that I know it's supposed to come out anywhere sometime end of the spring, early summer. I know it's somewhere, but it is coming this year. It is going to come this year. I'm going to make sure it comes out this year because they have a lot of other projects I want to do, but it is going to come out this year. And it's a drama comedy. It's a drama comedy about a bunch of friends having a night out drinking, and Kenny's character does a mistake that changes his life forever. And how does his character go from knowing about what he has done to coming out of that, and how his friends get involved on supporting him to get through it.
Well, I think we're all looking forward to it. We are almost out of time, but I have to ask you one more thing. Will you be returning to Queen's Pride this year? Pride season.
Yes, actually, that's an exclusive. It's actually sure gonna happen. I am
going
to be on this year for the 4th time. On June 4th, this show will be at Queen's Pride again.
Oh, I'm so excited because you're such a dynamic performer, and I love seeing you on that stage. So you guys go check out F'd Up, coming very, very soon. You can vote for Jesse Vega at LDMradio.com in 2 different categories, Latin and pop for Será Tú and For You. And Jesse, tell us where we can find you and your music.
Yes, you guys can find me all over social media. It's Jesse Vega. It's JESSE V3GA. And a lot of people ask me, why the 3 in your name? It's
I love
because, you know, I always say there's always 3 sides of me. I'm an actor, dancer, recording artist, triple threat. So, you know, you get more than one of me. That's why there's Jesse Vega. But yeah, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, music, Apple Music, Spotify, anywhere you can find music, I'm there. And, you know, support my latest single, Será Tú For You, and vote.
Jesse Vega on Redefine Radio on thefaceradio.com. I'm your host, Freddie Cosmo, the Disco Prince of New York. Jesse, thanks so much for being here. I know I'll see you very, very soon. We're going to get some more music in just a second. Stay tuned. It's Redefine Radio on The Face.